Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the KISS Europe Ladies Race as well as the Open Race. I'm Nathan Guerra coming at you from Zwift Community Live, and we got about a minute to go to the start of the Ladies Race. About 18 total jumping in. It looks like E category is what we're going to be having here, and then in the Open Race we got 21 so far, about 6 minutes to the start. As usual, if you do want to interact with the broadcast, you can do so through the social media integration. Looks like Patrick Blair saying, here we go. Love to hear from all of you over at the social. We'll be paying attention to the Twitch, the Twitter, as well as YouTube and Facebook. The Mixer, we need to get that removed from there, actually. We're not paying attention to the Mixer.com right at this moment. But those are all connected. So make sure if you do want to chat with us, go ahead and do so. Ask questions, comments, anything that you would like to do so. A lot of times we do have some new viewers in here who are wondering what is going on. For those of you who do not know what is going on, Zwift is a massive multiplayer online game in which people are actually competing against each other in a live format online with all the riders that are at their homes on actual bicycles, powering the avatars that are in front of you here. So this is real power, real heart rates, real cadences from bicycles from all the world, from actual women and men that are going to be competing against each other right now in this KISS Europe race. Cassie Baldy, it looks like, is showing up for the day. This is the UK national champion, Zwift national champion, showing up on the day here for the battle. That is going to be on the Watopia Hilly course. Now, this is going to be the reverse course Watopia Hilly, one of the most competitive, I would say, intense courses that there's out there. A very competitive course, but it is essentially a big punch up and over the top of the Watopia climb on the reverse course, about a 4-minute climb or so each time around. And the riders also do have the Essies out there as well to battle, so they will be heading into that very shortly here. As usual, it is a fast and furious start that we do see out on course here for the start of the race, like the cyclocross or mountain bike starts. S. Holmsen, we are seeing here from the Revo team coming out of Norway. You do see all the flags on the right-hand side of the screen for the riders and where they are from. Inslee there coming out of Great Britain, as well as Cassie right on her wheel. Inslee riding for the PTZ team. You can see the PTZ kit that she has on in game. There are lots of teams in Zwift in the virtual world now, as you can see. So we'll be keeping track of who's riding for who, as there will be team tactics most likely throughout the race. Carissa Min showing up on the day for the TFC team, as you can see on the back here, and 195 beats per minute. Now, we do know she beats fairly high, though, for that heart rate, so I think she may be able to hang on here. Now, this may be a different race, though, for Carissa than it has been the last couple of weeks. I believe 2 weeks ago, she was able to hang on the flatter volcano course. This being a little more intense each lap might be a little more difficult for Carissa. We'll have to see if all that base training we saw going down during the charity rides was going to pay off here. If there's any intensity in the legs is going to be the question, though, I believe, for the riders out here today. Daniel Walsh, good to see you tuning in over at YouTube. Appreciate the comment. Keep the heads up, Daniel Walsh is saying, because the attack is going to be left and right, I believe. Jess Johnson saying thanks for streaming. Good to see you. UGT Rewinds, good to see you, saying hi. As well as Frank Deal saying very intense. Loving the comments there. That's an inside joke just for everybody, just so everybody knows. Looking forward, though, here to the front end of the pack. It is L. Dixon coming from the KRT team. Good to see the ladies only race here, getting quite a few participants actually on the day. Always good to see. We'll keep on trying to focus on this every week. Last week, obviously, we did have a special event with Zwift that took a little bit of precedence, but we will be here as much as we possibly can for these events every week. Kay Sutter here we are seeing now falling off the back with Carissa. It is a 4-second gap. I think that is going to be gone, maybe because of the reality of this SEs having the punchers in there is going to take on a little bit more watts per kilogram than those who could maybe hang on in the draft could on a flatter course like Carissa and the rest of them there that are going to be riding most likely, I think, riding around a B or C category for Carissa. So we will have a chase group here. We'll see if she can close it down, though. She is off the front here, trying to make the best of the situation, looks like here, dropping the rest of the riders now. Carissa now out in no woman's land here. This is going to be a difficult place to be. Up in the 4.1 watts per kilogram, 200 watts, as you can see. The ones at the front here, those 6, 7 watts per kilogram. Cassie Baldy absolutely killing it, not wanting anybody to come back to the wheels just yet. 128 to the start of the open race. So we will be jumping in there. 73 that have jumped into that race, it looks like, so far. I saw 299 signed up for the open race actually before I actually went into it. So there's going to be a huge race out there today. Going to see how things do turn out. I would be interesting to see what big hitters have shown up. Now Dixon here, as we're seeing, all the way in that 182 beats per minute. Cassie, they're 6.4 now, sitting on the wheel. They do have a 2-second gap, and a lot of times in these women's races, we do have, oh, excuse me, sorry about that, guys. So we do have situations here where the women, a lot of times that are just head and shoulders above the rest as far as the strengths, so are able to get away and work together. And we do have a lot more attacks, I would say, because of the smaller field. They know that they are able to get away. Moyne here, as you can see, out of Denmark on the attack here with that arrow power up, looking for a little RNG in her favor as she does go through the sprint banner there, may be able to grab a second power up if she was using the arrow power up to get away and at least close the gap down to these who have gotten away. Have to kick it up to 5.8 real quickly here. Going to go with the break now, and we do have 3 off the front. Coming out of Sweden, C. Sellen now trying to close that gap down. We'll see if she can make this happen. Inslee here, PTZ on the wheel right behind. This is a chase group of only 5 riders actually, so they can work together. They do have a little bit more firepower perhaps in the legs, and the rest of the riders up front at least a little more help, but I'm not sure it's going to be of any consolation to them as they are definitely gaining seconds at a time here. They're going to need a lot more than 3.3 on the front here from Sellen to close things down. Dixon and Cassie, it looks like, now making her way to the front. 5.6 watts per kilogram, definitely on the attack now, as you can see. Let's go ahead and jump into the open races. They are starting to open up the legs with the start of the race here. Always the intensity here. We do see P Phone as well as a lot of other big hitters here. Rick Wood, I believe, is out there as well. Or Wood, maybe that's not Rick Wood actually, as he rides for Team Experimental, and we see a different name, team name next to him. Fusion ECT Esports cycling team out on the course here today, as we can see BRT showing up in force. Fusion though, with a lot of riders actually, definitely showing up to show off what they've got for the team today. Dig Deep Coaching is out there as well. Ollie Jones we're seeing out on course here. Always good to see him riding for Team Dimension Data U23 team, I believe. So we'll see if Ollie's got the legs for the climbs out there today. And we also see Jay Herman out there. Fleetwood is out there as well. Now we do know that Ollie Jones rode for Vision prior to Dimension Data actually in Zwift, so we might see a little bit of tactics between Vision Zwift team and getting Ollie to the line first. Alex West showing up on the day as well, also a finalist this past year in the Zwift Academy actually, so did not win but was a top 3 and won the race to the top of the Alpe Zwift actually a couple weeks back. So good to see him showing up for the race here in the KISS Europe. Lots of big hitters actually on the day. I also saw the likes of 40 out there, well-known racers. So Bergen here from the Vikings team. Things already heating up as they go through the SEs. These little punchers here can definitely put the hurt in the legs. And it is Peterson here from the Fusion Esports team now making his way to the front, 177 beats for 400 watts, and really starting to push the pace, trying to catch a few riders out and whittle down this group before they even hit the official climb out there that the ladies are about to hit actually. So let's jump back in with them. Cassie along with Dixon and Moyne, who made the junction there with that arrow power up. Good to see that she was able to go across and now sitting in the wheels here. Also has, it looks like, the Aztec jersey there. Fastest lap, I believe, over on the Jungle Loop. So good to see that she was able to grab that, but as a warm-up, essentially, it looks like. Cassie on the front now driving the pace here. 5 watts per kilogram, 170 beats per minute. Showing off why she's got that UK national champion kit on. Let's jump into a few of the comments here. We are seeing that Moyne has some super fans out there in the world of YouTube, actually, where we are streaming. Go Moyne, so from Steen Brusgaard. Good to see Steen tuning in here and cheering on your favorite racers. Let us know who your favorite racers are out there. Love to hear who you think is going to win. Luke Potter here cheering on Carissa. Also seeing Sean Kirkland. Good to have you here as well. Hi, Nathan. These Euro races are too late for me. Come on now, James. Get out there. No, never too late. I start at like 11 p.m. most of the time. So thanks a lot for the chatter there about the big screen. Sorry about it being small for so long there. Chris Racing Team actually means Carissa Racing Team. Luke Potter, she doesn't even ride for KRT. What are we talking about here? And good. This is going to be tons of fun. Glad I'm in my off season. Yoga is very less intense than Zwift Racing, Ian Anderson saying. I did see the pictures there, Ian, of you cyclocross racing as well. Gavin Dempster in here for Leandro Messinillo, the Dart. The Frog is out here today. We'll see if Dempster, if his teammate can grab that W for Team Draft. That's who he's obviously cheering on there. Soren Bay joined Fusion, but forgot to change the name from Team X. Good to hear there, and we'll make sure to keep up on that. Good to hear about Soren jumping onto the team of his country. It looks like there's a lot of riders actually riding out of, I believe it's Denmark, correct? For ECT, so good to see that. Cassie now with a little bit of a gap, as we can see, is there's an initial kick. For those of you who do not know what the Watopia climb is all about, it has this initial kick, 8-10% gradient or so for about 30 to 40 seconds, and then it gets into a flatter section, and you are able to draft a little bit, and you really got to throw the power and the speed down through this section to hold onto the gap. It's a little bit more difficult to hold to the gap or grow the gap because of the flatter nature of it. You know, you can't take quite as much advantage of the watts per kilogram. So we are seeing Dixon here able to close a little bit of something down. Cassie really up in those RPMs here, trying to hold on to the difference. It does have a couple kicks here, and then one final kick to the top where you can get away with the continuance over the top, but it looks like Nguyen as well as Dixon are clawing their way back to Cassie Baldy now, and she may not be able to hold on to this, and it might be time to calm things down if they do jump back onto the wheel. But looking from Cassie's perspective here, still 6 meters. There is no draft just yet. That 1 meter at 5 watts per kilogram. But here Dixon is back onto the wheel now, and she will have that draft, it looks like. So Dixon and Mjoin will be getting the benefit of all the power that Cassie may want to put out at the front here. Now Cassie looking to attack again, 7 watts per kilogram real quick, 175 beats per minute. Not able to open up the gap just yet though, as they are able to hang on. The attacks are coming left and right here. Going just barely hanging on, it looks like here. Holzman, it looks like Holmes in here now. Revo, riding for Revo. PTZ there now also in this group selling. They're all keeping it fairly calm, it looks like though at this point. Not really looking for any attacks like we were seeing in this front group to break things apart. Not super aggressive. Chris is still out in no woman's land here in the middle of the field, it looks like here, taking shots from the, no, there's no chase group actually, just Sutter here trying to bring back Carissa. So it's going to be a battle between those two, watching each other's watts per kilogram. Always something that's pretty cool about Zwift Racing. You can see the efforts that the other riders are throwing down that does cause you to push that much harder to hang on to your gaps. Flandham, it looks like here with Steele. Another chase group. It will be Garner, all in the lonesome. Lots of individual TTs here, it looks like, besides these front runners now. Group of 3 here now up and over the top, just about. And they do have a time of 4:13, as you can see, over the top of the climb. Holmes and Natalie attack, so this will just be a chase group that doesn't look super motivated to bring these girls back. It looks like they will be gone as the front group with 3 laps. The open race with the mostly men here, I believe, will be doing 4 laps on the day. Up toward the front end of the race now, who is turning the screws up into those orange numbers? When you do see the orange numbers on the right-hand side of the screen, you do know that they're getting into well over the threshold and almost into a sprint-type effort. It is Nielsen from ECT who is really putting the pressure on, 172 beats per minute, but it is Jay Herman with an aero power-up, taking a risk here, using that aero power-up actually, and not reserving it for a sprint, looking to break this apart. So many riders in and amongst this group actually, so I think that is why, with well over 70 riders that have made this front group right now. Herman trying to break things apart on the climb. I'm predicting a less than 330 over the top here. Tolbo able to hang on there. Will be 40 following it right on up, closing the gap. And it looks like Di Avola here up in the 7.4 watts per kilogram, trying not to get caught up with T-Vest from Fusion ECT. They have adopted the Wahoo Hooligan kit, it looks like, in game, or the Wahoo kit, excuse me. Wahhooligan kit in game, as you can see. So looking for the Fusion Esports team, that is going to be the blue kit out on course, and there's plenty of them, as you can see, surrounded by nothing but the Wahoo kit around them. Ollie Jones there in the Quebec kit right in front, now making his way through the pack as well. A little bit of a gap here, as you can see, starting to form, and I believe about 20 or 30 riders are going to be able to make this juncture. 1 second gap back to McGonagall, BRT there, Fleetwood from Vision just barely hanging on, and it looks like it is going to be Adderman that's at the back here with the 3 seconds between himself and Ribeiro out of Portugal. Golding there also out of Australia with a 4 second gap, and it looks like that is going to be the place where the elastic is snapping. Riders here getting caught out, 189 beats per minute currently from these riders trying to chase this down. And toward the front, you can see it is starting to back off, knowing that any efforts at this point most likely aren't going to do too much damage, and enough has been done to most of the group. Trying to make their way to the front, it looks like still some of these riders not wanting to be caught up by another split that could happen, and maybe even fade climbing a little bit and getting a little bit of an advantage from the draft. Herman still in the attack, though, 3 seconds, as you can see, hoping most likely that somebody is going to come with him, because if he does not get anybody with him and they do not work together on their way down the downhill, it's going to be very difficult to hold on to this gap as a solo rider. Still 6.8 watts per kilogram, as you can see. Bergen here 4.9. Real deal Aquila here chasing things down as well. Poison Dart now making himself known, one of the strongest riders we know of out on course here. Leandro now for team draft, trying to put a little bit of presence on the front, maybe playing it smart though, as we do see Evola is the one that is going to try and close it down. Herman almost caught, now backing off a little bit, is at 328, almost right on the money there with that 330, sub 330 as we said earlier. So let's go ahead and start here, some more predictions here, but we are going to set them back over to social media as we do jump back into the women's race. Not going to be a whole lot of splits, I think, in the group from this point, but we do see a split in the women's race though between Moyne and Dixon and Cassie for a moment there. Moyne looks perhaps to always just kind of be on that threshold, the over threshold, just barely clawing her way back every time she gets dropped here. And I think that Dixon and Cassie do smell a little bit of a blood in the water here for the rider. As we do look at the data here, Moyne did take the fastest time over the top, looks like by less than a 1/10 of a second, actually, though. Cassie here, 3.8 watts per kilogram. Moyne now falling off, as you can see. I think it's said and done for her. It's just been over threshold for a little too long. Dixon taking full advantage of what she sees here with Cassie right on the wheel as they do rotate together now to make this break happen. KRT and watts per kilogram team off the front now. Moyne gonna be all about the TT effort with about a lap and 3/4 to go, with Holzman, Ingmo, Sellin all on the chase. They were able to drop off White here, looks like, on this little bit of an incline into the Essies. It looks like she will be able to get back on terms. The Canadian rider riding for Revo there. As you can see, Ingmo from PTZ, and it looks like Holmsen on the front. Revo and Revo both in this group. With the I love the Technicolor kit that they have chosen here for their in-game kit, actually. Holmesen on the front now taking a little bit of pole, Sellin now sitting in a little bit. Is this actually a kit that they have adopted, or is this Revolution Velo Racing? I believe that this is actually their kit they have put in game, is Revo, obviously for short. So cool to see them in, if you're ever looking for them in game. That is the kit to be watching out for Revo, Revolution. Let's get that one more time. Velo Racing is what that stands for. So new introduction to me for the teams that are out on course. They most likely be working together here to get the better of Ingmo and Holmesen. They might start playing some cat and mouse as they head into the final lap after this lap, but they still have the climb to deal with. They might be able to chase down Moyne though with this group, but they're gonna have to put in some effort and not just be looking at each other with what we like to call holding hands out on course. Shortly behind them is going to be the open race, and Herman on the attack again, throwing down another arrow power up. The RNG most definitely in his favor today as the German national champion on the attack for Vision Cycling here. 5.6 watts per kilogram currently now. As you can see, it looks like Lundqvist now trying to close that down in the front here, keeping it steady, and that's all you really got to do on the front end of this pack, as long as riders are pulling a solid 4.5 to 5.0 toward the front, always able to kind of bring that back with the realities of Zwift's group dynamics here. Still 7 seconds though, is still going out. If they calm it down too much, this might get a little bit out of their hands and they might start to walk away. So toward the front end of the race here, 8 seconds now. Ribeiro is now trying to close it down. It looks like, no, 4.0 actually. Nobody really too interested, it looks like, to put the effort that will be needed to bring back Jay Herman. If he gets into TT mode, starts holding a solid 5 to 5.5 watts per kilogram, Lundqvist though now maybe thinking that this is an effort they have to worry about. Dam now coming right on through 32 miles per hour. Sorry that it's not actually in K's. I did save it for K's. Not sure why I didn't go over to that computer. I'm gonna get all kinds of flack for that one, but it looks like at 26, and from what we can see here, 26 as well, 27, 28. So definitely a much higher speed here being thrown down by a few of the by the pack, and I believe Herman is going to be caught. It is down to 4 seconds, and with the realities of the undulations here in the SE, it's going to be very difficult to stay away. Let's look at some of the more of the comments here. Great job by lighting up the Xmas trees. We're seeing it here from Jesper. Loving the comments coming through here. And I'm loving the festive nature within Zwift right now. They are using KISS actually took out double draft or true draft from their races, and they are only doing experimental drafting on Sundays. I believe there's 2 races every week that they do a test to figure out what the best drafting model is to use for racing. So make sure to watch out for those tests. KISS did an announcement about it actually in Zwift Racing Facebook group. So go ahead and take a look for that. Looking through a few more of the comments here. The exciting of Zwift races isn't necessarily brakes off the front. It's actually the brakes off the back because they close the gaps. I have to agree with that actually, Ian Andrews. That's a great comment actually. Fusion ECT is sponsored by Wahoo and riding Wahoo trainers. Thus the Wahoo outfit. Fusion Evo are the B team of Fusion ECT. Steen, appreciate the comment there. That's super helpful actually over at YouTube. Will Ali win today? Ali's been pretty unstoppable recently, it seems like, but at the same time, you know, I'd be watching out for the reality of Leandro on the climb. Ali versus Leandro, I think it's where it's going to be at. Now, Ali did get the better of everybody that showed up to the Zwift Academy finals up the Alpha Zwift, including, I believe, Leandro Evil. So I'd be watching out for Ollie Jones on the climb. He can climb like no other too. I think if you put the head-to-head, there's going to be a lot of big hitters that are going to make it all the way to that final lap. I think we're going to still have a large group up until that point, but definitely I'd be watching out for Ollie Jones perhaps to take it down even against the Climbing Frog. We'll have to see how he's able to leap over the top of the Watopia reverse today. Cassie Baldy now, they're about to start the climb here in the women's race, and these are the two off the front. 31 seconds back to Moyne. The gap continues to open up as she does go past those new running roads that were recently put into Zwift. A little bit of shout out to Zwift on the awesomeness that they've developed here on Watopia recently, as they have added, as you can see the turn there, the right-hand turn onto the running pass. Very, very cool expansions that have been developed recently as we're getting the helicopter shots here. And now it doesn't look like there's the gap. You can see, almost see Moyne just starting this climb, but it is Dixon who is on the front end of this race now. Starting to just edge out Cassie a little bit. Now Cassie making her way to the front, as you see, 4.8 watts per kilogram. Now 6.6 from, it looks like Dixon here, wanting to respond a little bit from the effort from Cassie now. Long climb ahead of them. They did a 4:13 the last time up on the top. They get 3 times over the top here to break anything apart. And looks like Cassie does not want this race to go to the end with Dixon, perhaps, as she continues to open up a little gap here and there. Dixon, it looks like maybe struggling a little bit to stay on terms, as Cassie now fades though to 4.3 as she comes over the top of that crest and gets a little less force against the lace, obviously using, I believe, a smart trainer here. 190 beats currently from Kid Dixon, 174 there coming from Cassie Moyne. Here, keeping it within that 30 seconds, but that's going to go out as it does flatten out a little bit ahead. It's all about speed, not just the power out on Zwift here. Holmes in now with Selin, Angmo, and White. They're going to be looking most likely to break things apart here. It looks like Inslee was not able to hold on to the pace with those riders to keep it a group of 5, so now down to 4 for that top 8, I believe, if I'm not incorrect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Excuse me, 7 with 3 off the front. Dixon here, 3.7 now. Calmed it right on down as the drafting comes back into the reality of this flatter section of the reverse Watopia climb. 6.2 watts per kilogram from Cassie. Now trying to turn the screws a little bit. 173. Got a couple heartbeats back, looks like there. Not going to be able to make it open up, though. It looks like Dixon able to hang on. Well, Dixon with 7.0 for a moment there. Trying to just make sure she holds on the draft. Looks like now Cassie sees that there's a little bit of space. 4 meters, though, is the difference. Doesn't look like it's going to open up to anything. Back in with the open race as we do have them just starting the climb that these women are halfway through, and it looks like toward the front end of the race it is the Vikings we are seeing, but now it's going to be 40 with Vision and German. The German national champion Herman now from Vision as well for 40, and Herman now on the attack with Kalaman there coming from ECT, and still into those orange numbers as you can see. Lots of arrow powers being thrown down. Lots of people taking the risk there, using these arrow powers very early actually. A couple of feather power-ups though, definitely want to get those out of the way and look for those arrow power-ups if it does come down to a sprint, but it is going to be 40 now, taking his chance at the front. It was Herman last time, so this looks like it is a Vision. Oh, this is the Vision rider Nathan here, but this looks like a Vision coordinated attack each lap. Herman did last lap. Now 40 on the front, 5.9 watts per kilogram. Bay there, Soren Bay there for Fusion ECT actually, the Danish national champion, sitting right on the wheel, knowing that 40 is something that you do not want to allow to get away, but it will be Lungfist actually using that drafting power-up, which does increase your ability to draft another rider to come right on through the pack and take on the lead. 157 beats per minute coming from him out of Sweden. Dam here right on the back on his wheel and getting a little bit of a gap. Let's go ahead and go to the back, though, of the pack and see who's been able to hang on after these monstrous attacks up in those 8-9 watts per kilogram. It looks like the gap here is going to be opened up between Adderman. It was him and McGonagall who were off the back last lap as well, so they seem to be struggling with these attacks to hold on. It looks like Vest here, seeing that this is a serious move, trying to get across to the other rider. Taylor there as well. Godson, Hey, Godson at Taylor Cycles, though, out of Australia, trying to break off the other riders behind. Herman actually caught out a little bit. He was on the attack last lap. Looks like he was maybe caught sleeping, but he has plenty of effort with 158 beats per minute, just keeping it calm almost, allowing 40 to do the work at the front end of the race for Vision actually at this point. And it looks like still on the front it is going to be the Swedish Zwift racing team actually. I believe that is going to still be, see if I can actually find this here, as we are using a little bit of a different model here for our, not model, but clicking around a little bit differently as usually do, so excuse on the cameras here and there, but will be a Animal actually on the front with Team AHDR Alex West, who was the obviously Zwift Academy 2018 finalist, with right on his wheel the 2017 winner of the Zwift Academy. So 2 Zwift Academy finalists, 1 a winner, 1 a top 3 here, taking on the front end of the KISS race here, European edition on this December 11th. Good to see the battle here coming from the 2 Kiwis. Assuming they do know each other in real life as well and have raced against each other in real life, so cool to see this neck and neck here between the 2 of them. Evola here coming out of Belgium, one last little effort over the top. Not going to go much of anywhere. We will see the damage that's been done to the group though through the rain, as there were a couple of attacks that are up and over the top. I think it did cause a split actually, as I'm seeing a little bit of a gap here. 60, not a little bit of a gap, but Gongle along with Adaman just let it go at this point. And it's said and done for this group, completely split. We've got about 20 to 30 riders off the front of some of the strongest out on Zwift. Bergen caught out, though, for the Vikings team. Not like him. Crazy to see that Bergen and the Vikings caught out there. Usually one who can make the sprint to the finish line. So it looks like it's going to be curtains for the Vikings on the day. We'll see if they were able to get anybody else. Golev is in there, but Bergen is out of contention here, it looks like. It is also going to... Actually, is this the chase? No, it is not the chase. This is the front group. Looks like Fleetwood is able to make it, which is pretty surprising. Amazing effort there coming from Stephen Fleetwood actually on the day. Herman here on the front again on the attack, as you can see, with that arrow power up, using every single roll of the dice as he possibly can so far to try and break things up even more. And 345 watts, it looks like, here with 139. Super chill as he was able to rest up a little bit on the downhill. Back in with the women's race, you can see the gap has gone out to 121. It was 30 seconds at the start of the climb. They're going to start their final lap here. Cassie, 4.5, it looks like it's calmed down. Hold hands time, make that initial break, work together to keep it, and then finally on the last lap, most likely going to be looking for the Essies as well as the climb and the reverse Watopia for when they're really going to start throwing down. S-Baby repping the experimental, Jonathan Bailey is saying there. Well, he did actually swap teams though recently, so I think he forgot to switch it up there, but still representing X in game, it looks like, here just for today here. A couple more coming. Spencer West, you'll love this. We're seeing Heath Williamson, thanks for the shout out and bringing more to the broadcast. Quick little shout out to everybody who is out there. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that follow button on Twitch or YouTube or on Facebook. Make sure to like as well as turn on notifications at any of those places. You can go ahead and download the Twitch app as well. I highly suggest watching the broadcasts on Twitch if you can, mainly because of the high quality of the broadcast, and it will also give you notifications every time to go live. If you enjoy watching on Facebook as well, that's great too. You can turn on notifications there. Obviously, we do have the social media integration too, or turn on notifications as well on YouTube, so you can know anytime that we do go live. Every week, just about every week, we do post a schedule as well of what we will be broadcasting that week. It's really focused on esports and the racing scene at this moment, so make sure to be tuning in for all of those. We are looking at developing more and more talk show type stuff as well, or podcast type stuff, so be on watch out for some of those announcements. But you'll always be able to find our schedule at the top of the page on Facebook as well as our Twitter at Z Community Live and Zwift Community Live on Facebook. So just a couple housekeeping things there, obviously. Now the women are starting into their last lap in the Essies here. We are seeing Go Knutsen, the Danish Viking here. Michael Syrup, thanks a lot for cheering on your favorite riders out there. Between these two, though, one cool thing about those are watching on Facebook, even though I am encouraging people to watch other places. But the only reason I do say that about Twitch is because I do hear that the quality tends to be a little bit better over on the Twitch broadcast. Then again, the social interaction is a lot of times what people do show up for. But as you can see, we do have polls that have recently been developed over on Facebook, which is really cool. Let's go ahead and get a poll going here, actually, for who do you think is going to win on the day? Dixon from the KRT team, or will it be the UK national champion, Cassie Baldwin? We've seen her time and again able to take down races like this. So women's race winner is going to be the question. And we will have two options, obviously, with the two women on the front here. Will it be Cassie or will it be Dixon on the front of the race for the W? It is published now, and go ahead and let us know who do you think is going to take it down. Dixon here toward the front, 4.2 watts per kilogram, taking on the most of the burden here of the pace at this point. Now, if you do want to vote, if you're on a mobile device, you can vote directly through the mobile device. Should show up at the bottom of your mobile device on the screen, or you can vote also on a web browser. Show up in the upper right-hand side of the web browser. I'm going to go ahead and throw in mine. You know, Cassie has won so many times. I'm going to say this might be the one time that Dixon might be able to get the better of her out here today. I'm going to throw down for Dixon on the day. A little bit of KRT love. Love the Casso as well. She's won many and many a time, but I think Dixon, for some reason, might have a little extra motivation out there today. We'll have to wait and see. Now, if we do some head-to-head between the riders with ZwiftPower.com, very amazing resource, third-party website. ZwiftPower.com tracks all the results for all the races. It is a partner with Zwift with a backend API directly to them, so all the results are direct from Zwift as it does update. It does have live updates currently going on that you can follow along with. You can also see, if you have not done so already, you want to get involved in Zwift racing, make sure to go over to Zwift.com, log in, and give permission to that backend API for your data to be shared so that you can get into the results on ZwiftPower.com. So Cassie versus, it looks like Cassie versus Dixon here. If we go to the live currently here, 4.2 watts per kilogram currently from Cassie Baldy. Dixon, as we had said earlier, most definitely putting out the brunt of the work there at 4.4 watts per kilogram on average so far for the race here. If I do look at some of the power numbers, longer climbs 4.78 here, medium climbs 5.8 watts, 0.08 watts per kilogram coming from Leah Dixon. Cassie Baldy able to put a little, they're actually extremely evenly matched actually between the two of them when it comes to climbing. When it comes to the punch though, Cassie has a little bit better punch it looks like compared to Dixon. So Dixon most likely wanting to get away on this medium climb. She has a little bit better punch, I think, on the climb than Cassie might. Uphill sprint, though, from Cassie, 11 watts per kilogram. We're not seeing quite as much here from an uphill sprint, though, from Dixon. So it's going to have to be the race of attrition, I believe, of just making it very difficult for Cassie over the top for Leah Dixon to be able to break this apart and try and take that W. Moyne here still able to hold off the chase group. Doesn't look like that's going to be happening for the chase group unless she completely fades from this solo TT. And a few of the riders behind in this chase group of only 3 now at this point are able to really throw down and put a huge attack into that 5+ watts per kilogram. But they've been saving anything to bring Moyne back and try and grab that last place on the podium. So let's go ahead and take a look quick and see what the predictions are. 64% so far for Cassie, 36% on the votes for Dixon. Keep the votes coming in. Who do you think is going to win? We'll publish the results here as they do come over the top of the climb just about here. We'll have to see if the predictions change at all as they do come on through. Cassie for the win. Dwayne Grant saying Jeffrey Creel in here saying go Vision. Adam Wem, where are the amens? We'll be jumping in with the amen here in just a moment. They're about to catch, I believe, these women out on course. They won't be seen actually, but there is an attack all out before they even hit the climb actually. Jay Herman full on the attack here. Lundqvist right along with him, using arrow power-ups as they head into their 3rd time up over the top of the climb here. They'll have 1 lap to go here. They're not letting it come down to a sprint if they're able to get away here. It is Herman and Lundqvist off the front. Fusion ECT trying to chase that down. 4 seconds of difference to Dart now, knowing that this attack is not something he wants to let go, trying to close it down before it gets out of hand. The Poison Dart now making his way to the front. Now ECT starting to take up the chase as well. Herman with that initial gap now might be able to make something happen because I don't think it's put him too far up and over the top of his threshold at this point. 7.2 watts per kilogram coming from him. Lundqvist, Dam's there now 4 seconds back as you can see. And Goliv trying to go through and Adam Webb. Adam, I'm 100% with you. We do bring in a second commentator here and there. Got to show this one. 2 commentators would be cool. Let Nate squawk the men and another person do the women's. I'm with you 100%. Some back and forth would be good. We did bring in Kim Little last week for a little while. We will get back on that a little bit with a couple more commentators. We do have a few actually coming on board here. Might not be able to be for every race, but we do have a few that are coming on board for some co-commentary. So I appreciate the comment there. We'll bring it within the budget, whatever that is. So, but we're on it there, Adam. And I agree 100% on that as well. Carissa, who was one of our co-commentators, just happens to be racing on the day. So we'll ask her while she's racing how things are going at 193 beats per minute right now, actually. But back in with the men's race, men's/open race as they are trying to again break things apart. Herman was caught, it looks like. Ollie on the front here, 40 now, 6.2 right on the wheel. Speaking of, Adam, where are you at? Why aren't you racing this race? Where's the power at here for the One Love? And Mr. Level 50 already, I believe, killing it out there on the Zwift miles. Maybe taking a break, being level 50 already. 40 still starting to turn the screws. They're going to still have a lap to go yet, actually, on the day. So let's jump back into the women's race as there's actually some action going on there between the 2 riders. Cassie on the attack. Dixon unable to hang on. It looks like 193 beats per minute. It looks like the predictions are going to be turning out in the favor. There's 65% there for Cassie and 35% for Dixon. We're going to go ahead and publish those now. You may be correct here unless Dixon's able to really pull something out of the hat here. 4.3, and Cassie seemed to just have a higher watts per kilogram, maybe too much energy burnt early on in the race, or just not enough kick to really chase things down now here at the end. And it looks like Cassie, UK national champion, is going to be walking away with this one, barring any kind of upsets here between the riders now. Adam Webb saying he's got the man flu. Sorry to hear that, and I hope you get well really soon. Sore from 7,500 kilometers getting to level 50. I would definitely think that would be an insane undertaking, especially in the amount of time that you did it. The Dragon is cursed. Anson Bricks is saying here as well. The Leo guy is good. We'll try and bring him in here as soon as possible, and I have to agree with that as well. Leo is solid commentary for sure. Jumping back in here, though, Cassie and Dixon. The battle is on, but it looks like Cassie's going to be able to hold this off here between her and Dixon. The battle here with Moyne here now, 208. Not going to be making anything happen, but it's going to be Angmo who might be on the attack now. 3.9 watts per kilogram. 36 seconds is the difference, actually. Not a whole lot. Moyne fading a little bit. 5 watts per kilogram, 3.4 watts per kilogram. Moyne's going to have to really work to hang on to this, I believe, as there is a serious, it looks like, attempt at least to try and bring this back, actually. So we'll have to see if they've got the effort here in the legs to make this happen. As Moyne, 45 seconds is the difference now. 3.6, 3.1. Moyne's going to have to hold on to at least that 3-point plus. But we'll have to see an attack here up in that 4 watts per kilogram plus and really work together between these. So they maybe only be thinking about each other that they're battling against here. Now Cassie holding on to that feather power up to this last moment. 19 seconds is the difference. As long as she doesn't fade at all, it's going to be said and done here for the women's race. Some attacks in the downhill here. We'll jump back into the women's race as soon as they're about to come across the line here. But in the men's / open race, things are definitely starting to attack on this downhill. Absolutely great to see. And never holding up, it looks like, here in this race. As Herman was on the attack, 40 was on the attack, still opening things up here. 34 minutes in. 1 lap to go. 1 lap to go, 34 minutes in, and the breaks again have taken place, it looks like here. Looks like they were able to drop a couple of off here. Animal now 18 seconds back. Jiri there as well, a full 124 back, being chased down by the Fusion ECT cycling team. The cycling team here out of Denmark here with a solid 29 seconds behind him. So a couple of riders biting the dust over the top here. Just too much to try and bring it back. Fleetwood from Vision still in there. Amazing effort there, actually, from Fleetwood to make it all the way through to this point. Vision with plenty of riders still in and amongst this group. Jones probably secretly riding for Vision out there. Herman, 40. We've still got Fleetwood as well. Fusion still with plenty of riders, at least 6-7 riders there from Fusion able to hang on. BRT with Mox in there. I'm not sure if he's got anybody to ride with him though as well, so we'll have to wait and see. But it is going to be, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 20 riders maybe. Now another attack here, not really holding up for the climbs actually, as Herman has gotten off the front 2 seconds. 40 trying to go with him. This is a serious attack. These two get together. It might be said and done. Herman, no, fading, saying, nope, I'm not going to go with it perhaps. Not going to carry the rest of the pack with me. 40 on the full attack, not waiting for a sprint to the finish. So this is maybe the look to not allow the men's race to come down to a sprint and just win it outright, way out, full lap out actually, and that's in 40's favor, as I do not believe he is in the favor for the sprint. It will be Cassie Baldi across the line, first place for the women's. Solid result there coming in for Cassie. Just a little ways behind her, it is going to be not Elgara here. We're looking for Dixon here coming across the line next. So solid result for Dixon, as Moyne there, 340 back. Solid gap between them. So Dixon and Cassie proven to be the two best with that breakaway. Moyne trying to hang on to the end, but unable to do so on lap 2. Gets dropped off and ends up with a 340 gap or so. Still a battle here for the top 5 for White, Selin, and Angmo, who's fallen off a little bit. And Moyne's going to be able to hold him off, though, for 3rd place, most likely. Back in with the open race here, and it is going to be 40, still with a 1 second gap as he makes his way through the Essies. And just trying to soften the legs perhaps here, or at least get away. It was a Fusion ECT that was able to close the gap here. 40 going to try and hang on to that wheel. 168 beats per Tolbo here. This is a rider you do not want to get away with 40. Another one who's insanely strong, actually. 4 second gap here. They start holding hands and saying, you do the work, you do the work, you do the work. It might all be said and done. Lundqvist on the front here, 4.6, 18.5 miles in. We are seeing 20, 30 miles per hour here. And Herman just sitting in, I believe, not wanting to do too much work and just close the door at the front end of this race. Tobel still working together at 40. Can they open up the gap? Now, the question isn't so much whether they need to hold on to the gap here, really kick it into those 6-7 watts per kilogram as we are seeing here on this climbing section. But the question is going to be whether or not they can really put their heads down and keep the gap and open the gap on the flatter parts. This is where they establish, but it's opening up the gap and really being consistent with that power through the flatter section of the course. Herman going to the front and actually slowing it down the moment that he hit the front. We saw him at the front there for a moment. There's 6-7 watts per kilogram. Then went ahead and backed off to 3 watts per kilogram and forcing the other riders to try and make their way to the front. So Herman definitely playing the good teammate there and closing the door every time he makes his way to the front. They still have a solid gap here. 8 seconds, 40, working together with the Fusion esports cycling team that is Tolbo. And it looks like Tolbo and 40, 7-second gap. Going to have to really put the efforts in here. 5 to 6 watts per kilogram is what they're going to have to do, I believe, in order to hold this off. We'll see if that does end up playing up. But we do have a sprint here coming in for the women's race for that top 5. 4th place on the line here. Moyne is just about to cross the line already with the W, or not the W, but the 3rd place on the day. But we are lining up for a sprint between Angmo, White, and Selin. So who's going to go first? Congratulations to Moyne, though, out there for that 3rd place on the day. We'll go ahead and start and give some ride-ons here. It's going to be Angmo, Selin, as well as White now to the line. White now leading things out, 4.3 watts per kilogram, starting to really ramp it up, as you can see, for that the Revo cycling team. Now it's going Selin from the SCR, well, riding actually out of Sweden, not for SCR that we can see. Angmo from PTZ sitting in. She does have a solid sprint. We'll see if it does end up playing in her favor here. Amo now kicking at 5.6 watts per kilogram. Not up and out of the saddle just as of yet. Now 6 watts per kilogram, 7 watts per kilogram here coming from Angmo. Sitting in, and here's the aero pop from Selin. Selin showing that she's got the aero pop as well as 10 watts per kilogram. Walking away with this one, followed up by White. And then it is going to be Angmo, I believe. Solid little kick there to the line, and it was Selin. 10 to 11 watts per kilogram. Now back in with the open race. It is going to be 40 on the front here and 5.8 watts per kilogram. Now Tolbo, but it's only 5 seconds. Herman continues to try and shut the door. Vision on the front trying to slow things down. Doesn't look like it's working out too well here as they continue to try and make it a 2-3 watt per kilogram race. But no, the rest of the riders are like, you cannot fool us. Herman still trying to close that door. Not happening here as we do see Tolbo and 40 here. Not able to pull much more than 5 watts per kilogram. The question at the same time is, do you want to do that? It's a huge risk at this point to try and do it that way, because there is these riders are absolutely demolishing themselves on the front here and wasting everything that they'd be taking into the climb here in just a moment. But it's now 11 seconds. It looks like they've kind of let go at this point, and it might be getting to be too late here. If they continue to open this up, the riders are not super interested in making the chase now. This 5 to 6 watts per kilogram might be in their favor, but can they close down 10 seconds at the on this climb here. 40 now 5.3. Fusion now sitting in at 3.7, but he's being forced to do most of the work. Lundqvist now Golev here only 3.6, keeping it within 10 seconds. It's easily closed down. I think 10 seconds. They're still going to need quite a bit more, and with all the effort that's been put out already, they might be thinking about what's coming in front of them here and backing off just a little bit. As you can see, not super interested any longer in really causing any kind of mayhem in the front. Now kicking the 6th though, Tobel here now making his way through. So it is actually all about the poles. They're really working together, actually. This has been some really well-organized work off the front here. Always 5 to 6 on the front, and then sitting in at about 4.5 watts per kilogram, but the gap is still only 8 seconds. We haven't seen a lot from the Dart, actually. The Dart's been sitting in a ton. And Leandro Messineo, I'd be watching out him for a crazy attack, actually, through this climb. And there's the Dart, 4.8, setting up, it looks like, 40 along with Tobel. Here comes Herman, 13 watts per kilogram. Vision trying to close it down to the teammate here. The response from Ollie Jones, 7 watts per kilogram coming from him. It's not nearly enough. 900 watts from Herman. Can he keep it, though? Now the fade is coming here. He's got to close it down immediately and work with these boys, and that's what he's looking to do. It's still 5 seconds. Can Herman come on through, bring that speed, bring that power, and add some engine to this fading race at the front right now? 40 now sitting on it. Fusion sitting on as well. Knutson here from DBR, it looks like, with the Messineo, no, into 12 watts per kilogram, coming over the top with the continuance here. Now the cream's rising to the top. Now we're seeing who's got the power when it comes into the final climb here. Ollie Jones trying to go with it here. Dig deep coaching there with Fleeman actually going too. Knutson here, 6.8 watts per kilogram. Might not be enough now. The gaps are really starting to open up. The elastic is snapping, and the riders behind are saying there's just nothing left. Soren Bay here now sitting in, the Danish national champion, unable to respond. Nobody's there to do anything for them. It's every man for themselves at this point as they get off the front. We've got 6 in the lead group. Herman, 6.5 in the front, still turning the screws. Soren Bay, 7 watts per kilogram now. Knutson here trying to go with it here. They're trying to pull it back without wasting too much energy for a possible sprint at the end, but it's Tobel along with 40 and Dig Deep coaching with Fleeman. Ollie Jones all together, 6 on the front here with the pack chasing them down. Are they going to start looking at each other? Is it going to be the break that sticks? 7 seconds. It looks like they've got enough firepower to work together and perhaps hold on to this gap. Who is going to win it here today? Let's go ahead and create another poll here. Will they stick? Will this stay? Or will it not? 4 seconds is the difference here. I'm going to put on the screen here is it going to be Herman? Is it going to be Herman? Is it going to be Tobel? Is it going to be Fleeman? Is it going to be the Dark? Is it going to be Knutson actually closing this all down? It's all back together. Was it too much? Oh my goodness, this is crazy attacks left and right here, but it's actually, as we can see here, a group that has been splintered as well, as Holt, along with Melville here, and quite a few others have fallen off pace. So really, this might favor the Dart and a few of these others that have sat in, I believe. Actually, no, Messineo did go across, excuse me. So some of these other riders like Kalaman here from Fusion ECT might benefit from these attacks. But again, they're going again at the front. Herman not letting up. 8 watts per kilogram, but here comes the Dart. But it's 5 seconds already. This might be a gap that's going to hold. Will the RNG be there? Will he get an arrow power up over the top? Because that is, he wasted it earlier. Earlier we saw him use all of those arrow power-ups up until this point. Will it be worth it? Has the Dart been holding on to an arrow power-up all the way up into this point? Ollie Jones going across. This is your last year's Team Dimension data. Is with Academy winner, showing that he's got the power as well as the smarts in the day to take down the likes of Herman, to take down the likes of Leandro perhaps. Golev from the Vikings team going right along with it here, trying to pull the group back. Is it going to happen? It looks like it's all going to come back together. Herman been trying his absolute best to break things apart, not calm things down at the front, continue to attack over and over, and Bay still 3 seconds back, trying to trust the group to close this down. There's the drafting power-up coming from the ECT rider. It looks like it's going to be Tobel sitting in, making his way through the pack. Still 4 seconds. They're going to have to work for it here. The Dart on the front, 2.1. We've got 3 riders on the front. They're going to have to hold on to it, though, because if they don't, the pack is going to come through like any stage race situation, any sprint race situation, and they're just going to consume any power that they're able to put out to the line. They need to hold on down to at least 5 or 6 seconds from here to the line. Ollie Jones on the front, 4.6, trying to keep the speed high, 38 miles per hour. So P. Blair now down to 0 watts per kilogram and gaining on the rest of the riders. Who's going to take it down? Let's hear it in chat. Who do you think is going to win? Is it going to be Ollie Jones, Messineo, 40, somebody else in the group? Let us hear those predictions. We're not going to do a poll for it because it's already been caught. Herman opening up from way out, 10 watts per kilogram. The drafting power-up's being used, but it might be too little too late because the speed wasn't there. We got to get back here. Oh my goodness, we're all over the place because we're not using a mouse today. 40 now, 4.7 watts per kilogram. Calmed it right on down. Ollie Jones opening it up with the arrow power up from way out. Tobo's going as well. All the arrow power ups are flying up, but Ollie Jones 15 watts per kilogram. Tobo coming through still though. Who is it going to be? Tobo now still found 15 watts per kilogram from Herman. Herman, it looks like it's going to be Herman to the line at the last second. Jay Herman at the line, left and right. The 15 watts per kilogram here, the 15 there, over and over again. Timed it with 100 meters to go. Stuck the wheel right to the last moment and then came through with that kick. That's what it's all about with a downhill finish like that into a flat. Make sure you hold on to the speed correctly, grab the right wheel, and come on through with that kick at the right time from the right position, just like real life sprint racing. Absolutely love it. Crazy Zwift racing out there today. Great job to the riders. What a race there out there today. Ali with the drop on it. I missed that. Herman, take my energy. Luke Potter with the absolute best comment on the day. I'm just calling it. Take my Twitch chat on Facebook. Loving it. That hurt me just looking at it. Christian Kroll is saying, great play-by-play and color commentary. No problem there, Aaron. I was kind of all over the place there, but we had a little bit of difficulty. We didn't have an extra mouse out here today, actually, so that's part of the reason why we were kind of all over the place. But what an amazing race. Crazy, crazy job all around. Let's go take a look at a few of the replays here that we were able to grab from the race. I do believe we have Cassie's win here across the line, if I do set this up correctly. Yeah, and this is going to be Cassie coming across the line here at the finish line. Solid result for her. Don't need a slow-mo for that. Taking the W out on the day easily with a 30-second gap. Dixon was the next one across the line with that second place, and would be Moyne for third place on the day. Again, make sure to keep on bringing the chat if you have any questions, comments, your predictions were right, whatever they might be. We'll make sure to interact a little bit with you as we are finishing up the broadcast and grabbing all the replays as well as the results on the day. Pastor Blaze, so much fun. No problem there. Appreciate you being here. Mune Ron Adam Webb, shots fired on the day. That hurt me just looking at Christy. Yeah, it was definitely a crazy result that there. Thanks, Nathan. Great coverage. No problem whatsoever. So Cassie Baldy definitely crossed the line with a 4.3 watts per kilogram on average. Dixon actually throwing out 4.4 on the day. So solid result there for Dixon. This is actually a replay here from earlier. We'll go ahead and grab, we actually need to grab another replay here besides that one. So we'll just jump over to just the Nathan here for a minute. Moyne there across the line in third place for the women's race. Caroline Seelan, shout out for fourth, and Heather White for fifth. Steve Engmo, Sonia Inslee, Carissa Min, Jen Steele, and then Christine Flenham. That is in that order for the top 10 on the day for the Kiss Europe for the women's race. On the results for the open/men's race, it is still populating here. We'll bring them in as fast as we possibly can as they do populate, but we can go ahead and take a real quick look at the replays. That was very close between the men actually at the finish line. We'll see if we can grab this for you, and it's giving me a little bit of problems here. Bringing it on in, and here we go. So we'll see. This is the here we go. We do have the finish here, right to the line. As you can see, it did open up super early there. Ollie Jones He opened up really early with that arrow power up, kicked into 15, got a gap, and I think it was a little bit of a drop out there, actually. 0 watts per kilogram, so that might have been what actually caused him to drop so far back, because he kicked right back into 17 watts per kilogram from Ollie. That was the effort he needed for the win, but it was Herman who took advantage of the situation, comes right on through, as you can see, making his way to the front there in the last 100 meters, 15 watts per kilogram, as you can see, Tobel sitting in on the wheel. Herman actually with a drafting power-up for the win. It looks like it was Tobel and Nielsen battling it for that second and third. We'll have to wait for ZwiftPower.com across the line there with the speed after the slow-mo. So amazing result there, though, for Herman. I think Ollie might have had the better of him with that jump without that dropout. Too bad to see the dropout there for Ollie Jones, last year's Zwift Academy winner. It's seen Simon Nielsen actually for the win with Fleeman. Is that correct, actually? Followed up by 40 for third. So we do have a few strikes on the day, it looks like, against some riders that do need some verification, perhaps. So it looks like the official result or unofficial results, we'll have to wait for KISS to get involved. But we are seeing Nielsen followed up by Fleeman from Dig Deep Coaching, and then 40 for fourth place. Soren Bay for, 40, Soren Bay for fourth. 40 took third, excuse me. Leandro Messinillo there, unable to get the jump with the dart tactics there for fifth. Ollie Jones does fade back to sixth, all within 0.2 of a second, though, between all these riders for that top six between them. So absolutely amazing racing all around. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Absolutely loving all the comments here. And gutted for him. He will get approved, Adam Webb is saying, for the 20-minute DQ. Okay, got it for Herman. That's okay. I mean, it's for the fun of it. It's for the racing of it. We saw him across the line. We'll wait for the officials to take care of that. We're just here for the broadcast and the fun of it, obviously. And Chris is saying, yep, that Ollie had that cutout halfway through the sprint. Too bad to see on that cutout. Might be willing to see if any better commentating than racing. Let's go, Carissa. Bring it on. We need to get you up in here for sure. While you're racing, bring it in while you're racing. Good race for sure, Carissa, man. Top 10 amongst some really strong women, actually. So if you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that follow button over on Zwift Community Life. Like the post, as well as any of the places that you like to watch. Twitter, as well as, well, you can hang out with us on Twitter back and forth. But if you want to interact there as well, you can bring in media too, which is pretty cool. If you do have pictures or anything of your Zwift setup or whatever it might be, results you get from the racing out on Zwift. We love to share that here on Zwift Community Live. Make sure to do so. And wherever you'd like to watch, hit that follow button. We'll see you guys next time. We are live tomorrow morning with the Dirt/Draft Grind Fondo morning racing series. So it's been really heating up there on the Volcano Climb tomorrow morning. Definitely tune in for that. Jesper's going to be covering that. He'll be back on board with that tomorrow morning. We've also got the Zwift Academy Finals race for the women. That's going to be happening on Thursday. And the SCR race on Wednesday tomorrow, noon my time. So tune in for all of that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. As always, thanks to all the viewers out there. And great job to all the racers. You can find all the results over at ZwiftPower.com. And as always, ride on.